how did you get here? Well, or how did I get here? And when by here I mean mentally, where you are right now in your life, maybe a bit physically as well, but the physicality can change, but it won't change until the mentality changes, which I found out. So how did you get there, here, there? So for example, whatever the norm is, who decided that that's the norm? And going on from what I discussed in the previous two videos about autopilot and drifting. So sometimes if you let the autopilot, well, you don't let the autopilot take over. What the hell am I talking about? The autopilot just happens, do you know what I mean? But if you don't check it, it's hard, and find yourself somewhere that you don't even know where the fuck you are. How did you get there? Is it because you started a job once upon a time because it was the first job you could get, it paid well, whatever your reason, straight out of school, college, whatever. You ended up in it because you were in a tight spot, whatever, and you ended up in that job, and you ended up staying in that job. Oh, it's windy, I'm going to hold on to the tripod. And you ended up staying in that job, and people were there, it was nice, whatever the reasons, and you ended up staying in the job, promoted, blah, blah, blah. Became comfortable, became something that you just did. I just air quoted. Became something that you just did. Well, that's how you ended up here, because it was something you just did. And there's no judgment here, by the way, at all, any shape or form. It could be that, like, okay, so for example, who says that you have to stay there? And then could it be that we are so accustomed to working in the week and having the weekends off that whether it suits us or not, that's how we ended up here, because we just carried on doing what everybody else does because they said you have to do it, because everyone does it, so therefore we think we should do it, and that's how we ended up here, because we didn't know that there was any alternative, because we never stopped for a second just to ask that question, is there another way? I mean, I personally believe there is, because I'm always changing and doing lots of different things, but still always searching for the Holy Grail. So how did you end up here? I think that is a really, really important question, because you can't get away from a situation when you don't even know the situation that you're in, if that makes sense. And also how you got there, because I think that's a great indicator of possibility of what you could do to get out of there, if that makes sense. To get out of where you are, knowing how you got in there, because then even if you don't exactly know where you want to go, but knowing that you're somewhere that you don't necessarily want to be, and you're starting to think, why do I not feel amazing and great every time I wake up in the morning and jump out of bed rocking the world, ready to rock the world? Because you might have ended up somewhere you didn't know you were going to be. So if you can find out how you got there, then do the opposite, and you might not know where you're going, but it might put you in the right direction. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think so. So just by asking questions, how did I get here, and see what comes up. Now at the minute, on the time of recording, no one's really listening to this channel. It's pretty much me talking to myself. Actually there is one or two, and but if you do have any answers to your questions, and they're not too private, you don't mind sharing, please do write them in the comments, because it might actually help somebody else. Because sometimes we can ask questions that we can't quite, we need that first trigger just to kind of start the words flowing, you know what I mean? We'll start it all coming out like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's true, me too, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll leave that one short and sweet like that. Okay, bye.